whiteboard button before. All right. Share my screen. I have my second monitors at school, and I had my system, and I'm in my room that I was teaching in my basement, and I'm like, oh goodness, it's so weird because I don't have everything that I used when I was normally with my kids. So I keep typing on a keyboard that's connected to the other computer. So it's like, oh, how quickly you developed routines that were never there prior to August. So today is the awesomeness of Google Applied Digital Skills. My name is Jennifer Bond. I'm a middle school design technology teacher in Walled Lake, Michigan. I teach at Clifford Smart Middle School, which is actually in Commerce Township, but part of the Walled Lake schools. This is only my second year there. Prior to that, I was in elementary. So 22nd year in education, most of those years in elementary. And I'm here in Brighton, Michigan. But like I said, I teach in Walled Lake. I have 2 children that are teenagers, as well as another fun fact is that outside of teaching, I also own a hard cider brewery. It's not a brewery because we ferment the cider, but so like a small winery in Pinckney, Michigan. So if you're ever in the area, check out Oak Creek Craft Cider. Now we heard from Gail and Bev, but as far as the rest of you, where are you from? What do you teach, or what's your role in education? That I can kind of try to customize it too and highlight that.
I can go.
Okay, thank you, Danielle.
Hi, so I'm Danielle. I work at Onstead Elementary School. I teach 5th grade science and reading.
All right.
Mm-hmm. I just graduated in May too, so I'm fairly new to all this.
All right. Well, welcome to this crazy world of education.
I wouldn't ask for it any other way, because this is the best learning experience with COVID and going online and offline. So it's been actually really awesome.
Yeah.
I'm Denise. I teach in Waverly Community Schools, which is a suburb of Lansing, basically. And I teach 1 through 4 ASD students.
All right.
Hi, my name is Jennifer as well. And I am from Ovid Elsie, which is north of Lansing. And I'm a media specialist, mostly in elementary.
Okay. So this session is a quick one. We're only meeting till 4:30, and it's about Google Applied Digital Skills. And they created a platform that pretty much provides the lessons for you through like self-paced video lessons. So this is just a quick overview, kind of their promotional view of it. So I'll play that.
The role of schools has changed drastically because of the use of technology. It's no longer sufficient to be just a textbook and paper classroom.
Applied digital skills is like a website that you go on and it'll give you a task and work you through it using videos.
At the end of the video, it's going to have like a list. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do that. So you're going to do it yourself.
Employers are looking for students that have the collaboration skills that a lot of them are not coming out of high school with. This program feeds right into that need.
I thought you were like typing like no.
Very seldom do you have a project that engages all of your students all the time. And the Applied Digital Skills seems to do that.
We do mostly fun activities, like I say, dream vacation, Paris, the city of love. I really want to go there.
The video material gives me more freedom to interact one-on-one with my kids. To have that kind of relationship with them is what makes my classroom one of their favorite classes.
We can be ourselves and have fun, you know? Just like
it's teaching so many of the skills that our kids need once they leave high school or even start jobs in high school, from the critical thinking to the collaboration to organization skills. All those things are wrapped into this program. And to be able to utilize that across the board at all schools, I think would be invaluable.
All right. Have any of you used Google Applied Digital Skills prior to this?
No.
No. All right. So all right, so I'm just going to do an overview of my experiences with Google Applied Digital Skills, just give you a general overview. Then I'll go into just kind of my current, like we just did it today and yesterday in my class, and I'll show you just kind of how I set it up and how I invited children to my classroom. And then I'm going to give you time to tinker around so you can kind of see those things. So I'm going to, why is that little X? Okay, I'm like, my little mouse was like glitching. So Google Applied Digital Skills, you're going to sign in just like you would with anything else, signing in with your Gmail account or your teacher account. And then you have the ability to create classes. So I have several classes. This mouse is not working. I have all of these classes from the past year through this year, and I just haven't archived them. But I've also, during our COVID shutdown times, I had people that didn't have any, instruction from teachers. I'm like, ooh, this would be a great thing. So I have just some families that I invited to Google Applied Digital Skills. But essentially, you can have your classrooms, or you can just assign, certain things, and they have collections that have a wide range of opportunities for students, essentially to get to know little bits of Google tools, little by little, in hopefully engaging ways. So down along the left-hand side, you can see that there's different levels of people that are in education, and maybe they would structure the lessons differently based on the topics and the different tools. But just to show you, I mean, there's 148 lessons. So a lot of lessons, and it's continuously adding on. And in this way, it's sorted by most popular, so you can see what's like most likely being done. And when I first did it, I don't know if I just like randomly found it or if somebody told me about it, but this make art with Google Sheets, I would say is one of the best entry level kind of things. Prior to me doing this lesson, I wasn't even quite sure what conditional formatting was in spreadsheets. Excel, Google Sheets, it's probably the least like secure about any of the Google Drive platforms that I am knowledgeable with. So when I did this, I actually learned a lot of little tidbits that I could apply to any Google spreadsheet things. And the way that I set it up is just had kids find a pixel art and they were able to create it. But the cool thing is when you do this, they have a person giving you the lesson and they tell you the directions, to the right of everything. And then the child just goes then to the next aspect of it. So you're going to create a grid and choose your image. And this teacher will tell them exactly. So essentially the students will have this lesson, or yourself, if you're going to do Google Applied Digital Skills to build your own Google knowledge, most of these things you would have the Google Applied Digital Skills lesson being played in one tab, and then whatever you're applying it to, whether it be Google Calendar or in this case, spreadsheets. And then it walks you through all of the videos of how to create the pixel art. And then at the end, it tells you how to submit your work, or it has a survey and things like that. So everything is just totally paced by Google. Now, when doing this, sometimes I am the person that will just be like, yes, that sounds like a great thing, sure, and give kids choices without necessarily going through the lesson. And sometimes that's fine. Sometimes it comes back to get you, because then kids have questions about how many slides do we have to add? I'm like, ooh, what did they tell you? I haven't taken that one. So it is probably a good idea if you're going to do these to have some bit of knowledge, to have the time to take and do the lessons. But they have so many different things. So let's say I looked at this lesson and I wanted to add it to my class. Like, here's all of my classes. When you start, like, you would create a class and name it. So if I had my third hour, here is, once it opens up, here are the lessons that I've already assigned. So today we did the show appreciation with Google Slides, or the create a clickable map in Google Slides. And the create a clickable map is actually cool because you learn how to do transparent shapes over images to make them hyperlinks to other slides. So you build this cool slide, and though these lessons are geared towards, upper elementary, I'm pretty sure if I watched it and guided it, I could do this even with lower elementary. I could see that you could build different, you could have a family picture and have different images around faces that are transparent, or different shapes around the faces, and then make those hyperlinks. Like, there's ways that you can do these lessons and figure out ways that you can modify it for whatever you're teaching. But when you're actually having these lessons go, you can see the progress, and you can see, like, if I do this, I can see how many videos the kids watched. So for today's lesson, because I gave them choice, I wasn't able to see that everyone, on one platform was doing what they needed to be doing. But usually you can see, like, okay, they finished. So this child is done with their assignment. They should have turned things in. There's ways that when you're doing your lesson, you can see who has accepted the invitation. I did invite kids from my Google Classroom. They have a way, when you set up the classroom, it will pull over the roster from your Google Classroom very easily, and be able to, then when the kids go to sign in, it pops up saying, hey, you've been invited to Mrs. Bond's class, or Design Tech 4th hour. And then they can go into their classes pretty easily. But there's also materials that go along with it. So when you see they have a lesson plan, so if you wanted a structured lesson plan, you can download it. There are certificates of completion. So if a child likes those, little carrots that you can dangle, and they can, you've now been certified in, this lesson. You could download the videos in case you had streaming issues and needed to download them. There's also rubrics, and I think if you click on the rubric, they have it, you can edit it. So if you wanted to do it more advanced, you could do this, but then they have a link to an exemplary project. So in this case, this is the show appreciation. I knew kids would maybe want to thank some teachers that have helped them out with their pandemic learning, or a parent or a friend. This one is also a very simple lesson if you wanted to start with the show appreciation. It really shouldn't take that much time, because the goal of this lesson is just to learn about the different themes to change your slides. But this, as you can see, it's pretty basic. So I think elementary kids could do that. But in the slideshow that I have, I'll just show you that today's lesson, when I had the slide, I just said, okay, you can have a choice. You can complete the appreciation with Google Slides lesson, or the clickable map. And then I also put into the slideshow, and I have a link to this that you can go ahead and look at. But it just went ahead and said, okay, here, who would you want to show appreciation for? Or for the map, we talked about what type of maps. It could be a city, it could be a state, it could be a country, it could be your dream vacation, and you can create different things to showcase like what you would do when you would get to that dream vacation. My post in Google Classroom looked like this. And this was like the first time that we had done it. So I just was sharing like sign into Google Applied Digital Skills. In my presentation, we have some stretched out, like zoomed in pictures that you're welcome to use if you needed, but pretty much like click here first, then, because one of the things I would say, they want to click start right away, but they have to sign in, otherwise it doesn't track their progress. And I just, had them upload the slides to Google Classroom. Now, if you don't have Google Classroom, you can have everyone submit things in the Google Applied Digital Skills. And when you, let me see if I probably have maybe evidence, because today I said, do not share links in Google Applied Digital Skills. Maybe, let's see, this class, maybe they have, maybe you can see evidence, we'll see. This is from last year. Let's see, projects submitted. We'll see. Maybe. Oh yeah, okay, so this was like an example of the Google Applied art or create art with sheets. So if you just use Google Applied Digital Skills as your warehouse of all of their lessons and all of their things, then you can just look for the turning in, unless you have Schoology or Google Classroom or things like that. But I would say the pixel art one, kids love. And what we did with the pixel art is we did the pixel art, the Google Applied Digital Skills, but then I got some leverage with it because during, I think it was, we did winter theme pixel art. So they had already had the skills for that. And then, and this has nothing to do necessarily with Google Applied Digital Skills, is an extension. There's this app called Piskel, like Piskel, and even like my children with cognitive disabilities did well with it. And you're able to create a sprite, and essentially becomes a GIF. So kids love doing this and making, all they have to do is like draw different things, and then you can add a new frame, and then it, something else can pop up. And then you could, I mean, you would create a picture, but just if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that all of your drawings animated. So we were able to start with the Google Applied Digital Skills, do another extension, and then do the Piskel, and have a lot of experience with like just art, digital art. So half an hour is not a long time at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you go ahead and tinker around to explore. And if you find it's at Google Applied, I think it's Google, it's not Google Applied. Let me, Applied Digital Skills, .with google.com. But if you just put in the search engine, Google Applied Digital Skills, it will pop up. You can go ahead and create an account, pop around to different lessons. If you want, you can go ahead and just see all the collections. I mean, the collections kind of combine like-minded things. There's some that are like social emotional. There's some for businesses, the back to school. I mean, just the back to school has some ways that you can get to know each other. There's some for like middle school, how to track your due dates and things using Gmail, or how to use it with a calendar, practice spelling words. So lots of different lessons that you are able to do. with the pretty much Google doing the heavy lifting for you. Do you have any questions? Or, I mean, it's like 5 minutes, but. And I think some of you came in afterwards, so. In case you didn't get the link, I'll put it in here. And then there's also a link from Lenaway as far as just an accounting. And I think they are giving you a chance to win Amazon gift card, I think. I will put that in there as well. Now, do you think, do you see some things that you were like, ooh, I could use that? Does it seem like something that your students would maybe enjoy? Or you to learn your Google skills, enhance your Google skills? I mean, I consider myself like super techie. And I have learned things in each of the lessons that I did not know. And I feel, like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like something so simple as you click the upper left-hand corner of the spreadsheet that it selects the entire spreadsheet. I did not know that, like all of these years. And that was just a helpful thing for other spreadsheets I've worked with. Another fun thing that my students did in groups. So this is if you have kids working in groups collaboratively. And for now that there's kids, for me, hybrid, teaching face-to-face and virtual, there's one of the lessons where they do an if-then adventure story. So the whole premise is that they're creating a story on slides, but then they're using hyperlinks that you can say, does your character do this? Does your character do that? And then they create a hyperlink to the slide that will change the story outcome. And my students did a lot of neat things with that. And that was teaching them how to share a slideshow, how to collaborate with it, and how to create hyperlinks. So each of the lessons have little aspects, and these could be good starting points for other class assignments. So I'm going to share my screen just to do the final little slides. And oops. All right. So thank you for this I feel like a fire hose session for Google Applied Digital Skills. But fortunately, there's not a lot of, it's really, the time is, tinkering around, seeing what's out there, which lessons, you can utilize. So as far as me, it's just like exposing you. And it's pretty straightforward. Google lays it out pretty straightforward. So, but if you have any questions, my email is teamthirdgrade, all spelled out, @gmail.com. Or you can find me on Twitter @teambond. And REMC and REMC Save are really doing a good job of providing so many of these sessions across the state. I know yesterday I attended the Pear Deck session and it was really nice. And we did a maker webinar last week. So definitely take advantage of the professional development that is out there. And then as far as attending today's session, I did put the session completion in the chat. And then if you wanted to look at the other tech webinar series, I think they have a pretty robust schedule through the end of February. So any things that you would like to, enhance your digital lives and your first year of teaching, definitely is great that it's free, that you can win extra gift cards and just be able to enhance your teaching life in this crazy, crazy, crazy time. Most challenging. Today I had the quote of the day, like, you've been assigned this mountain to show others it can be moved. And I'm like, I need quotes like that because I feel like this is the largest mountain in my professional career. And I told the kids, I'm like, I'm not quite sure if I can move it, but I'm going to try to chip it away a little bit, like transform the mountain, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to push it. So if anyone has any questions, I'll stay on. Otherwise, end your Wednesday and enjoy yourselves and have self-care. Like I tell my students, go have self-care. You're very welcome. Have a good day.